Thank you. I always enjoyed coming into your space to share with you. The coziness of the room, the way this community hugs and holds hands in prayer, and of course, the baked goods and conversation in the fellowship afterwards. We don't have that today, but I hope me coming into your homes through technology will bring a spark of thought and maybe even joy. I'll begin with a story. When Rabbi Israel ben Eliezer, known as the Baal Shem Tov, the founder of Hasidism, saw that the Jewish people were threatened by tragedy, he would go to a particular place in the forest where he lit a fire, recited a particular prayer, and asked for a miracle to save the Jews from the threat. It is said that the miracle would come and the crisis would be averted. Later, when the Baal Shem Tov's disciple, the Maggid of Mizrach, had to intervene with heaven for the same reason, he called out to the heavens, "I do not know how to light the fire, but I can find the place, and I know the prayer, and that must be sufficient." And the miracle was accomplished. Still later, the rabbi, Moshe Leb of Savon, in turn a disciple of the Maggid, went into the forest to save his people. "I do not know how to light the fire," he said. "I do not know the prayer, but I can find the place, and this must be sufficient." And once again, the miracle was accomplished. And when it was the turn of Rabbi Israel of Rezin, the great grandson of the Maggid, who was named after the Baal Shem Tov, to avert threat, he sat at home in his armchair, holding his head in his hands, and said to God, "I am unable to light the fire. I do not know the prayer, and I cannot even find the place in the forest. All I can do is tell the story. That must be enough." And it was. And it was enough. As we come together in prayer today, we are like Rabbi Israel. We are in a new landscape, and we must still trust who we are in community. Someone once said the invention of the Jewish prayer book stifled prayer for the Jewish people. Indeed, as we canonize what prayer is and put it in writing, we lose a piece of what it is to be in the moment of prayer. When I lived in the South, I truly envied my Christian friends who could be asked on the spot to offer a word of prayer and riff on thoughts of the day with the eloquence of a poet. But often, when I'm asked to give an invocation, I run to my bookshelf to find the appropriate language. It is something I fear I have lost, like those generations of Hasidic rabbis in the story. But in every generation, we can remember to tell the story and still keep the faith with the past. Praying is often a singular act that we share with others. How we reach out to which is beyond us is a highly personal thing. How it is received is too quite personal. But too often we have created professionals to tell us how to pray and what words to use. I can honestly tell you I know this because I am one of those professionals. But it doesn't have to be that way. A shepherd spent his day in the field. Every day he praised God, saying things like, "Dear God, if you were cold, I would give you my robe. If you were hungry, I would share my lunch with you." Or, "Dear God, you have given me such blessings. If it rained, I would let you borrow my hat." He didn't know any of the traditional prayers, but he felt a closeness with God. One day, a great scholar and rabbi was walking down the path and heard the shepherd say, "Oh God, you've given me such abundance. If only you could come and share in my joy and meet my family." The rabbi was outraged. He told the shepherd that that's no way to pray to the Holy One. He took out his prayer book and went page by page, reading and explaining all the daily prayers that the shepherd should recite to praise God. Hours passed and the day near ended. He gave the shepherd the book and walked away, telling him to pray with that book every day. The shepherd, however, could not read So he stuffed the book in his pack and took it home. The next day in the field, he went to praise God, but he found he couldn't remember how the rabbi had taught him. He looked at the book and saw the lines and circles that made no sense, so he remained quiet. Days went by, and God wondered why the shepherd was silent and sent an angel to investigate. The shepherd told the angel the story of the rabbi, and the angel whisked him away to the heavens, where a chorus of angels were praying to God. "Dear God," they would sing, "if you were cold, I would give you my robe. If you were hungry, I would share my lunch." The angel returned the shepherd to his field. The next day, God was thrilled that the shepherd again began to pray. There may always be a right way to do things in our mind, and prayer may be one of them for you. But today we cannot fully embrace the comfort of what things were just a few short months ago. So now we stand or sit at our computers, struggling to stay connected while continuing the seemingly unending practice of distancing. Our prayers feel different. We are not in the room. We cannot fully experience the joy or angst in those who would normally be near us. The small boxes seem barely enough to stay fully connected in this space, but we can do it. It will be different. We may even get used to it. There's a joke going around the internet, and a congregant is speaking with their clergy, who asked if the congregant was worried that they would lose people in their congregations if services were online. The congregant responded, "I get up an hour later to go to worship. I can stay in my pajamas. I can drink coffee on my sofa. And quite frankly, I can mute you. I think attendance is going to go up." Throughout our history, the Jewish people in virtually every religious tradition has had to change how we interact with God. In Judaism, the prayer was personal, it became temple-based, and later community-based. Things changed. A few short months ago, we were flummoxed by the way we had to change the patterns of our life so suddenly. Our screens became a lifeline to family and friends who normally we would gather with. We shopped online and had groceries delivered. We tried to figure out what was safe and what wasn't, and we learned to wash our hands like surgeons and to avoid showing embarrassing artwork behind us in our Zoom meetings. Or maybe that was just me, I don't know. And praying as community had to change. But there is hope. Look into the eyes of the people on your screen. As you share their homes, as they share their homes, sip their coffee, and maybe even show off their cool pajamas, we are still in community. And this community, the community that you welcomed me into so many times, has stories to tell and words to recite that lift us up, alone and together. Today, we do not have the room. We do not have the hugs and the hand-holding, and we do not have the great baked goods to share in fellowship. But we have each other, and we have the stories, and that will be enough. Thank you.